In the video game Quantum Break, Jack Joyce must beat Paul Serene to save the world. But does Paul Serene have malicious intent? Or is he just an opposing force? My name is Nicole Bryn, and I'm here to answer that question. Welcome back to my series Breaking Down Quantum Break, where we dive into this game's complexities. Warning, if you have not played the game yet and do not want any spoilers from the game Quantum Break, please click off now. If you have never played Quantum Break before, please go check out my previous video where I give an overview of the game and you can find all the plot details there. In this game, our protagonist Jack Joyce meets with his best friend Paul Serene to test a time machine, and the time machine ends up breaking, leading to the end of time. It is your goal as Jack to find the countermeasure that his brother created to fix this. However, Paul Serene currently has this in his possession. But why does Paul Serene have this device, and why won't he let Jack fix the fracture with it? Well, we should look at his history to understand. During Paul Serene's childhood, he was around the same age as Jack Joyce, so the two of them became close, and after Jack became estranged from his brother Will, Paul helped him get on his feet. An important note in his childhood is that when the boys were either like 11 or 12 years old, they witnessed a suicide. And I won't get into it too much right now, but remember that because it comes back up later. Paul and Jack were definitely troublemakers as they were growing up, getting in a lot of trouble together. Paul was said to be very motivated though and having the needs for success. He attended business school, gained some fame from these ventures. He is described as an ambitious businessman. Jack even describes him as a showman. During this time of his life, Paul was pretty cocky, but talented and idealistic. He had the desire to leave his mark on the world, but feared failure and rejection. In 2010, Paul Serene became the director of Project Promenade, which is the project where they were building the time machine. This project is definitely very secret. The public does not know about it. I don't think most people in the university know about it either. So Paul's definitely in a very secret group. Meanwhile, also in 2010, Jack Joyce leaves Riverport, and this is important because Paul actually sends Jack off himself and tells him to never look back, essentially. They did keep contact with each other through emails, and over the next 6 years, Paul would continue working in secret on this time machine until one of the project's scientists became a shifter. A shifter is a person who has been exposed to Cronon particles way too much to the point of where they can really only exist in stopped time. So, making it seem like he died in an accident, Paul goes on to hire Will in February of 2016. Will worked with them until he found miscalculations in the research, and voicing the truth made investors start to pull out, so on October 7th, his clearance was revoked from the program. However, Paul still had a hard time reassuring investors after this, so he brought in Jack, the only person that he felt he could really trust, to help him test the time machine so he could prove that it's going somewhere and get investors' money back. And on October 9th, they did just that. And as a side note, it's actually really funny. I didn't even plan for it to work out this way, but the day that I'm uploading it is October 9th. So, happy anniversary to Time Breaking Down! But anyway, when the crash occurred, Paul was forced to go through the time machine, where he arrived in February of 1999. He did everything that he could to change things. He initially believed maybe this was a good thing, then he can fix his issues. And the first thing that he did was try to stop Will. He did shoot at him, so it does seem like maybe he was trying to kill him, which is definitely not the escalation I would expect. So part of me wonders if that was really the intent, or if it was just a way to scare him out of it. Either way, did not work. He continued to try to fix things. The suicide that him and Jack saw when he was a child, he tried to fix it, but it only ended up making it happen by him being there.
When we found that vagrant, remember? And when I arrived at the pass, that was the first thing I tried to change. I went to the roof. I tried to talk him down, but my presence startled him, and he fell, same as before.
He had started a company. He knew the fluctuations of the stock market, so he was able to get billions of dollars and created this company with the initial goal of helping him in changing the world for the better, in that initial goal of fixing things in the past that had gone wrong. This company was called Monarch Solutions. They started buying out tech companies, security companies, so that they could kind of get a hold on Riverport. Then, on September 11th, 2001, we all know what happens. Paul does whatever he can to prevent the tragedy, but he still sees the towers fall, and he finally comes to terms with the fact that he can't change things.
It happened for the second time. I watched the planes hit. I watched the towers fall. I did everything I could to prevent it. Took every precaution. I warned them time and again. And just like every other thing I've tried to change, I've failed. I'm living in a cycle that cannot be broken. I thought I could prevent the end of time. I can't.
He learned that no matter what he does to try to change the past, it will always happen no matter what he does. Maybe it will happen in a slightly different way, but the outcome is always the same. This is important. Martin Hatch is hired in the same year. He's later promoted to lead spokesperson while they were buying out major media outlets to control the public image of Monarch Solutions. And with the tragedy that Paul had seen for the second time, he now changes Monarch's goal to fixing time once 2021 had happened. This is because Paul believes that if he can't change the past, he can change the future, because the future is not set in stone. So to him, seeing the time had stopped in 2021, he knew that was going to happen, that could not be changed, but he could create a place where scientists would be safe from time stopping so that they continue researching and working on the fix for this so that they can bring back normal time. Then years later in 2010, Paul Serene hears about a man wielding the same powers as him, and this is Jack and Beth from 2016 traveling back in time to get the countermeasure or CFR device. He arrives at the workshop that they are at and sees Beth with the countermeasure. He wants the countermeasure because his goal of creating a place where scientists will be safe to continue would be powered with this device. So, Jack, and Beth end up fighting. Jack somehow gets flashed back to 2016, where Paul is left with Beth.
Beth, get up. Beth, come on, get up. Please, Beth. Beth, you need to move, okay? Yeah, that's it. Get the gun. Come on, Beth, move. Come on, please. Beth, move! Paul, don't do it. Don't do it, don't!
I'm not wrong.
You can't.
No!
While Paul believes this is just what he has to do to save everyone else, it still haunts him.
I killed her. The first sacrifice in the name of our mission. I could see in her eyes she would never fully accept what must be done. I pray that I never have to look in Jack's eyes and see the same thing. I'll make him understand. I'll make him see.
After this event, it is now the second phase of Monarch's plans. They have the CFR, they're going to research it. They have the ground zero, where all of the Cronon particles are extremely active, where that event occurred. So they can now study those. And this continues all the way up until 2016. Finally, we are to phase 3 of Monarch's plans. And this is essentially the time that Paul Serene doesn't have any solid plan because he had not lived through these years before. So the day of the explosion, Paul organizes teams to capture Jack and Will, to get the time machine core, and to capture civilian witnesses. Paul himself even gets involved in trying to get Will and Jack.
Paul?
Jack, we gotta go.
Hold on.
I'm sorry, Jack.
Will is believed to be dead, but it's unclear if Paul actually believes this. But later we see Jack from the future save Will from his death. Either way, Paul then goes to oversee the transfer of the university's time machine core. This is the start of your decisions affecting the game. The only real decisions that you make in the game is through Paul Serene, and there are 4 junctions, as they call them, where you make 2 big choices. This choice is about how Paul will control the media surrounding what happened at the university, and there's 2 ways he can go about it. He can either go for a PR-friendly approach.
Initialize a PR campaign.
I want a statement.
And that violence was because of Jack Joyce.
Monarch would take a PR-friendly approach and manipulate the public into siding with us.
Or a deadly hardline approach.
Any potential threats to our plan need to be erased.
Wait!
Monarch would take a hardline approach. Crush all obstacles, eliminate all witnesses. It would be harsh. But I had made hard choices for the greater good before.
And for this choice, I do think it is a big factor in whether or not Paul Serene is evil. Because if you choose hardline, he is ordering the deaths of people. Either way, Paul preps for the Monarch Gala, where he will be revealing the lifeboat protocol to his workers, and Jack arrives to turn himself into Paul. Well, really, because he's actually trying to, sneak in, but either way. This choice is whether Paul will let Hatch essentially kill his best friend.
Monarch would grow stronger with my presence. The plan would go forward as intended. But my old friend would be a lost cause. Dead and buried along with the rest of my past.
Or Paul will have Hatch do the speech, and he will go speak to Jack in an effort to finally see through to him.
I once trusted Jack more than anybody. It was my only chance to make him understand the truth. But without me there to give the speech, my empire would start to crumble like a house of cards.
And for this one, again, if you go for Martin talking to Jack, he is choosing murder. In the episode after this choice, we see Paul Serene getting administered treatment for his Cronon syndrome. Cronon syndrome is the early stages before you become a shifter. There are bonuses to it. You get powers like we see from Jack, where you can stop time, like stop bullets in time, build a time shield around you. But at the same time, it does mess with his health, especially mental. This is important because I think Paul would be a very different person if it wasn't for the Cronon syndrome. It also has to come into play in choices later, but the syndrome makes him erratic. It makes him paranoid. I think the Cronon syndrome definitely changes him. Either way, we get to Junction 3, where he has to choose whether he trusts his co-worker Martin Hatch or Sophia Amaral. Martin Hatch is his right-hand man. He works with him very closely, and Martin Hatch does take control of the public eye for him. Sophia is the doctor who is helping Paul with these syndrome treatments, and he does seem to also have some romantic feelings for her as well. And truly this choice is whether you want Paul to be dumb or not, because it's very clear that you should not trust Martin Hatch and you should trust Sophia, because they very much point out that Hatch is working against Paul. In the end, like, Martin Hatch is a type of shifter, and he is trying to get the world to end, get time to end, so that he can live his shifter dream, I guess. And this last choice, in my opinion, is probably the most important, maybe other than PR versus Hardline. But this one, he has to decide whether he's going to take his syndrome treatment and get back on his path.
I can focus on the mission. The lifeboat. See it through to the end. I feel more clear-headed, calmer.
Or if he's gonna let the syndrome take over him and control his actions.
You have all betrayed me, assured my downfall, and now I will assure yours.
This choice, I think, is very important because if he surrenders to the syndrome, he becomes extremely hostile and homicidal and is very clearly and obviously just out of his mind.
Sir? Are you alright?
Who put you up to this?
Sir, you ordered us to go through Dr. Kim's lab, find what we can—
Who are you working for?
You, sir!
Liar!
What the fuck?!
You know, if you don't want a bunch of people to die, I personally would go for the control choice, but either way, no matter what you do, like I said, because you can't change the past, history is set in stone, it always ends the same, and Jack has to kill Paul Serene in order to fix the fracture.
We'll need a jolt of Cronon particles. A jump start. That's you. Don't stop. Hurry up! It's like I'm pushing against the entire goddamn universe. Got it!
The countermeasure. It stitched time back together everywhere.
So we all know Martin Hatch is definitely a villain. He just straight up wants time to end.
This world, you know? This world is ending.
But one world's end is merely another's beginning.
My world will be renewed. My world will see balance.
And he is technically an antagonist, but the true antagonist is Paul Serene, because he is the combat to Jack. But just because you're an antagonist doesn't mean you're a villain. A villain is often the antagonist, but not always, and an antagonist just means the opposing force. Jack could be a villain, and Paul would just be an antagonist for the reason that he's trying to stop him from his goal.
I still see visions of it every day, haunting me. Time frozen, billions of people just stopped for an eternity. Never living and never dead.
So I think it's possible for Paul to be a villain. I think a lot of it depends on your choices. But when we look to his past, he killed Beth. He possibly tried to kill Will. You know, I think a part of him is good. I think a part of him wants to do the right thing. And I think some of his choices are from his syndrome. Like, all of the choices in the game are being affected by that. But on some level, still right at the beginning, he possibly tried to kill Will. I have not gotten any concrete answer on that. So it's kind of hard to say. What do you guys think? Is Paul Serene just an antagonist? Is he a villain? I would definitely like to hear your viewpoints, because I'm definitely kind of stuck. I think he's more of an antagonist than a villain, but it's still possible for him to be one. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give me a like. And if you want to see more videos of my series on Quantum Break or other videos on video games, please subscribe. Thank you all for watching. You guys have a great night.